Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and I have got a single parent's guide to money. As most of you are probably aware, I'm a single parent myself. One of the hardest things to deal with as a single parent is managing finances. I've been a single parent for about 7 or 8 years now, and I've picked up lots of tricks in able to make sure that I make the best out of my money. Many of you will be aware that I'm a single parent. I have been for a while now, and I'm desperately trying to save as much money as I can for a house deposit. So in order to save as much money, I have done lots of tips and tricks to help me get there faster. So while my budget and savings advice may be a bit extreme for some, there are some valuable things that can be done specifically for single parents. I have literally lived on the breadline. I have managed to survive on a very small amount of money for quite a long period of time, and so I'm fully aware of what it's like to count every single penny of your income. I'm fortunate that I'm in a better financial position now, but I wanted to share with you my advice on how I got there. One thing that's really important to remember is this is not going to have quick gains. It's going to be a long-term process. Because finances are so tight as a single parent, or can be, that every penny counts, it just means that you're working towards a longer goal. So let's get into some advice to get you there. My first tip is to set yourself a financial goal. So this could be that you're either working towards a family holiday, you're working towards maybe a better car, you're working towards saving money for a house. There's lots of different things that you can set as a financial goal, but having a financial goal will help you be much more motivated. It will help to keep you accountable for your actions, and it will just keep you that bit more focused on being able to achieve your goals. So if you have that goal, you're more likely to be working towards it. Tip number 2, know your money. So know exactly what's coming in every single month, how much you're getting income-wise, and also exactly what's going out every month. You need to have a budget. So even if that's handwritten on a piece of paper, know exactly what comes out and when. It will help you manage or be able to see when money needs to come out and when your next money is coming in. One thing that I do is I have a financial month rather than a standard calendar month. So I know that I always get paid on the 25th. So my financial month starts on the 25th of one month up until the 24th of the next. So that's how I organise when my money comes out. So I start my financial month from the 25th and that goes into the next month. It's much more helpful to do it that way, because then you have a better track on when that money comes in as being your starting point, and then your money coming out being the filtering through the month. If you're not sure when your financial month starts, I would suggest that you take it from your biggest amount of income that's coming in. So that could be a housing benefit, or it could be from wages from a job. Look at what's the biggest income and work it from there. Tip number 3 is to shop around for your bills. This is going to give you some longer term benefits from this. If you can shop around, you know that you're locked in then for a price for a year or two, and it just means that you can better manage your money. If you know exactly how much you need to spend a month and you know that you can cut that amount, it just means that you can have a better grip on your finances. One thing that I find really helpful with my bills is to make sure they come out within like the first week of my pay. So because I know that I've got a regular pay date, it will always come in on the 25th or earlier if it falls on a weekend, then I know that if I get all my bills to come out within that first week, so from the 25th onwards, I know that that money is already accounted for and sorted, and then I don't have very many other bills that come out the rest of the month. It would just be petrol and food. So all of the bills come out in the first week. Tip number 4 is to create a sinking fund. This is a really important one. It's something that I've only just kind of started doing. It's making sure that you have a pot of money that is ready for birthdays, for Christmas, for school uniforms, and for any other things like maybe additional work on your car. If you have a pot of money set aside for the year, you know that when something comes up, either a birthday or an occasion, you've already allocated for it. One way that you can do that is working out how much you would spend on maybe family and friends in a year, perhaps on gifts. Is it £10 per person? Or for your child, do you have a budget of like 50 or 100? Work out exactly how much you're likely to be spending in a year And when you've done that, then what you can do is you can either share that between 12 months and put aside a set amount each month, or you can work it out for the whole year, put that money aside at the very beginning when you're ready to, and then you know that whenever you've got a birthday or an occasion that you've already allocated for, you can just dip into that money. It's just a much easier way of accounting for all of those additional spends that are kind of a bit more ad hoc or at random times. If you can have that pot of money ready, it just means you know that it's there. So this goes for birthdays, Christmas presents, school uniform, maybe school trips. If you know that you're going to have school trips coming up, that's going to be back in the game again now that COVID is kind of allowing us to do these things. And maybe car work, if you know that you regularly have to do something on your car each time it goes in, perhaps any little thing like that. Tot up a whole total for all of those different things and either split it between 12 months or pay one lump sum at the beginning of the month in a savings account ready for the year. So tip number 5 is connected to tip number 4. You need to make sure you know how much you're going to spend on birthdays and Christmas to set a budget. This is really important. I think it's so easy to get tied up in Christmas, like offers, deals, bargains, and you end up spending a lot of money and actually they're just as happy with a cardboard box or the cheapest item that you've bought and you spent hundreds on something else. Think about what it is you're spending. So maybe for Christmas, for example, know that with each child you're only spending 100 or 150 max. Know what it is that you're going to stop at and make sure you stick to that. So, and one thing that I found really helpful is actually discussing that with my son. He's now 12, so he's a little bit older. We can actually have some of those financial conversations where I say, actually, I can give you a big present, but that means you'll have less of other things. So this is the maximum that I'm going to be spending. It just means you're opening up the conversation about money. You're teaching your child to be a little bit more savvy about money and not to be wasting it on lots of little things that actually perhaps you don't really need. And the same goes for birthdays. Know what your limit is. So if you've got a set amount that you want to spend for friends, so maybe you have a limit of £5 or £10 for friends, and maybe for family members you have 50 or 100, depending on where they are in your family. So it's worth knowing how much it is you're going to spend. Tip number 6 is to know your entitlement. So in the UK, if you're part of the UK, you can go to entitled to. It will tell you how much you're entitled to. It's really important as a single parent that you explore all options and that you get everything that you're entitled to. So even though I'm a working mum, I still get some entitlement because I don't earn enough. It just means that I have that little bit of spare money that I can then enjoy or have a bit of life with, rather than only spending money on bills. It does mean that you have that little bit more freedom to be able to do things and to be able to create a good life for you and your children. And connected to this, there's the issue of child maintenance. Make sure you work out using the calculator how much it is you're entitled to. This connects to how much they see their child and how much they're earning. So it's important to know that you're getting the right amount for those things. Tip number 7 is to avoid phone contracts. So the best thing to do here is to get a SIM-only deal, and you can get them so that they're rolling monthly contracts, and then it means that you're free then. If you should need an emergency phone, then you could get yourself a contract if needed. But if you can avoid contracts, it means you're paying less money for the phone in the first place because there is interest, etc. when you buy a phone on a contract. It just means that you have that better control on your finances. It means that you can shop around for deals as well. So if you know that you're paying £10 a month for a deal and you see that somebody else is offering the same data and the same unlimited usage of social media, etc., then you can switch without too much hassle. And if you do end up needing to buy a new phone, I highly recommend you buy refurbished or second hand. Quite often people are upgrading their phones every 2 or 3 years when their contract ends, just automatically, and quite often they're selling them and they're really good condition. Why pay 3 times the price when you can pay for a second hand that does exactly the same thing as a new phone would? And there's always things that you can do. For example, if you get a phone and the battery's not so good, there is ways of either getting battery replacements or getting your phone serviced and looked at to improve it. So, and that would still be a cheaper option than buying new. So it's definitely worth considering, and they're usually in pretty good condition. This also goes for devices, so not only phones. Some people get caught up in contracts for iPads and computers and laptops. If you can, try and purchase in one go. it's much better financially than having a monthly payment coming out and that commitment of a monthly payment. If you know that you need to buy something, try and save first before purchasing. And again, with these items you can easily get decent second-hand items as well. Tip number 8 is to clear your debt. This is something that I have worked on in the last year or so. Didn't have an awful lot of debt, it was more like hire purchase and there was an overdraft. It was just worth clearing them, because then you don't have that financial worry that comes with having debt, or knowing that you're paying interest on something that you're struggling to do. If you can find a way of paying your higher interest debts first and then paying off the lower interest as you clear the other ones, it just means that you're in a better financial position. It means you have less worry, and that will be much better for your financial and mental health. It may mean that you have to make sacrifices for the shorter term, but the longer term impact is so worth it. It's definitely worth clearing your debt as a priority. Tip number 9 is to open a help to save account. If you are on benefits, it means that you can apply for a help to save account, and this is in the UK. It just means that for every £50 that you put in, you get a 50% bonus, and you have to commit to saving a maximum of £50 a month for 2 years or 4 years, and you'll get 50% as a return on your savings. So for example, if you're able to save £1,200 in the first 2 years, then you will get a £600 bonus. You have to keep that money in the account to get the maximum bonus, but it's definitely a good option for a savings account if that's the maximum that you perhaps could be able to save of £50 a month. So that is definitely something worth considering for a longer term goal. If you know that in 4 years time you would like to have a nice holiday, you know that you could put it in that account and you'd have a decent sum at the end of it. Tip number 10 is to meal plan. I go on about this a lot. I will link a video up above for how to meal plan, but meal planning can make such a difference to the cost of your food, and this is such an easy way to save some money. If you can know exactly what it is that you're spending your money on, and you create yourself a list and know exactly what you're eating, it means that you will be less likely to buy these extra treats or food that ends up going to waste. So I definitely recommend doing that. And there's ways that you can make that a little bit easier. So you can have cheat days. So for example, on a Monday is always a pizza and games night in my family. So I know that Monday is kind of an easy day for an easy meal, because I know that I just have to put pizza in the oven and that's done. So it means that you can be flexible. It means that you could know on a certain day, you know you're going to be busy, you know you've got after school clubs and things like that going on. So you know that you can have a quick throw in the oven meal or a quick stir fry, for example. It's just an easy meal. It will just make your life that little bit easier, and it will make it like a cheap meal as well. I hope these tips will help you gain some financial control on your situation. If you have any other tips or advice for anybody else, do pop them in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall see you soon. Bye.